Welcome to the Uncivil Mentality Podcast. I'm Erik Vidal.
And I'm Reilly Kilbride.
Let's go. Let's go. Yeah. Good to go. We are live.
Oh, Josh, what's up, brother? How are you?
What's up, guys? I'm good, man. Good. This is
Finally
awesome.
got this thing happening, getting it
Yeah.
rolling. I'm excited you're here, man. First, I want to thank you personally just for you're so down for the cause, man. You support a lot of our stuff. You repost, you shout us out. Like, we appreciate you, brother. You're on this rocket ship with us, and we really appreciate you.
Yeah, man. Anytime, dude. I love what you guys are doing. I mean, it's awesome for everybody who wants to be involved in that. You guys are motivating people, inspiring people, and why not, share the cause so other people can see it. I love it.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for that.
Yeah. Before we get going, just to do a brief intro, who you are, where you're from. Tell us a little bit about what you do.
All right. So I'm Josh Banks, currently in Savannah, Georgia, working for a little department called Garden City Fire Rescue. Originally, I'm from North Carolina. I've lived in St. Louis, Missouri, North Dakota. Now I'm back down south. Just trying to be a good dude and a good fireman, man. That's it. Right now I'm in an officer role, but title doesn't really mean anything. I'm just trying to work hard and be the best I can be. So
I absolutely loved your episode on Danny B's podcast. Me and Erik talk about it a lot, man. We really enjoyed that conversation, and we're gonna
Awesome.
do our best to maybe not ask the same questions that Danny B did. So
no worries, man.
now we are a big fan of Danny, so we won't give away the episode. I tell everyone to go listen to it, but
Sure.
I'll get right into it. Recently, you became a father.
Yes. Yeah,
Yes,
dude.
how old?
She turns 3 months tomorrow.
Wow, dude.
Yeah.
How's it been?
It's quite the change, but dude, it's awesome. I wouldn't trade it for the world.
Yeah, we go back
I'm
and forth on
stoked.
Instagram about it, brother. You're letting me know what it's like. Looking forward. So
Yeah, it's a challenge. Don't get me wrong. It is a challenge, and she'll test your patience a little bit, or you're like, oh my gosh, but it's a baby. They don't know, but the thing is, at the same time, it's not easy, but it's easy because if they're crying or fussing or something, they're either hungry, they need a diaper change, they're tired, or, you can fix a lot of the things pretty easy. And I've started to pick up on, well, social cues might not be the right word, but cues that the baby is doing. I'm like, okay, I got you. Let me give you your pacifier, and falls asleep within a minute. I'm like, all right, yeah, I got this thing down finally. And then something changes, and then I got to relearn.
Well, it's your baby. It's an extension of yourself. So
That's exactly right.
There's that.
is mom doing all right? Mom healthy?
Yeah, she is. She's doing real well.
Yes. So how long did you take off the truck before you got back to work? Is a question that I'm.
So I did 3 weeks. Unfortunately, like 1 or 2 shifts, I don't want to say they got wasted, but the baby was late, so we didn't get to spend. I lost out on a little bit of time with her, but at the same time, I was also home. I was able to be there with the wife and stuff, because once it got past her due date, she struggled a little bit because she was like really uncomfortable. Like, get this thing out of me. I am not. I'm not having fun anymore.
Yeah.
But no, it was actually really nice though. I missed work a little bit because I was like, oh, I want to go do stuff, but at the same time, chilling, not doing anything, just bonding with mom and the baby. It was really nice, really a good time, and I highly recommend, especially for you, Reilly, like, spend as much time as you can at home with mom and the baby. Like, it was nice too, because she knows that, like, me working out helps me keep my sanity a little bit. So she's like, take your 30 minutes, hour, whatever you need, go do it. But after that, come back to us
and lock in, baby.
Lock in, exactly. Like, all right, I got you.
Yeah. Yeah, man. It's a roller coaster up to the up. We're there. We're 30 weeks, 31 weeks now, and
Dude, that's so exciting.
We can see the finish line, and man, it's a lot.
I'm
excited.
It is, man. You got everything.
We can see the end in sight, which is getting good, but
good. You got the like the nursery set up.
What's up?
I was gonna say, you get the nursery set up and stuff.
Yeah, we did that.
Nice.
My wife was really weird about that. not weird, but she did that very early. Like that
She wanted
morning,
to get it done.
that made her feel more comfortable with what was happening. And I
Hmm.
realized that in the moment that this would make her feel more comfortable if everything is done. And we did
Yeah,
it very early. And she's been almost like been able to exhale since things are
good,
prepared, you
good.
know?
There's been a couple things like my wife has done, not not like out of the ordinary stuff, but things I was like, why are you so worried about that right now? And then I'm like, oh, you know what? Shut up. Let me shut up. All right, I got you. I'll
Yeah,
take
yeah.
care of it. Like, okay, cool.
So
Yeah.
that their
Just to ease their
process,
mind, man,
yeah, they're
Yeah,
is really what
processing
it's about
whatever.
at this point. What's up?
Yeah,
yeah.
no, it's like their process to process of what's going on, and like a
Mhm.
system put in place, to, like I guess preempt or prepare
Hmm.
themselves for what's about to happen.
Mhm. So Josh, first question I have for you, and this is I've been thinking about this is what is a skill you're working on right now? Let's say in the fire service, like what is something that you're learning or getting better at slowly?
Ooh, that's actually a really good question. Let's see. A skill that I'm learning. Honestly, the first thing that really comes to mind is kind of as silly as it sounds, but it's like talking to people and understanding them, and like actually being more of an active listener instead of a, okay, here you go, here's my response. Like, I'm really trying to like really engage and learn with my crew too. Like I've been with them for a while. I mean, me and one guy we've worked together. We started at the same time, so I'd known the guy for 3 years, but I haven't really. I'm trying to get like we're trying to get on the same wavelength and stuff,
Mhm.
and it's I think it's working out pretty well. For example, like so he, without like putting all of the stuff out there, like he doesn't really work out. He doesn't do much. He's kind of reserved, sits in the recliner. He's the old salty driver. Like he fits
Mhm.
that description. But he recently like went to the doctor, got some tests done. He got put on T, and he's like, I want to try and get my stuff. I want to get back to what I used to be. I'm like, dude, yeah, like let's go, man, let's do it. But he wasn't doing anything with it. But one day we were in the grocery store, and he's like, hey, man, I got some questions. Like, what do you think about working out like this or doing this or? And I'm like, the door just swung wide open for me. I'm like, yes. So I'm really taking in what he's saying. And now that dude is out there in the bay, gear workouts with us on the treadmill. He doesn't spend an hour out there, but he takes the time and he makes the time to be out there doing something
Mhm.
for 20 minutes or what. I'm like, dude, that's what I'm talking about. But yeah, it's going back to so like I'd say actively listening because I'll say a flaw of mine. Sometimes I'll hear what somebody says, but I get kind of emotional. And I don't really take all of it and pick it apart like I should and like actually listen. Let me just give you a response, which a lot of times doesn't help. You
Mhm.
know.
Yeah, active listing is probably one of the most difficult things I think we can do, especially when it's
Yeah.
something that we feel confident in. Like if someone asks me about, anything health and wellness, I want to be like, "Oh yeah, let me tell you all the things that I know because I know so much in my head." But giving them an opportunity to kind of voice where they're coming from and,
Hmm.
speak to what's going on in their life because their life's not the same as mine. Everyone's got their own story, brother. Everyone's living their own virtual
That's
reality game.
that's
So
right.
giving people the opportunity kind of to let them tell their side of really what's going on is difficult. It's an everyday challenge too. So that's not like a skill that you learn. It's a skill that you actively have to apply all the time.
Hmm. Yeah,
Um, the follow
definitely.
up to that question is what's something you're doing really well right now, like in this season of maybe on the truck or even off the truck.
Training. I I know to keep it simple, but like just simple drills and basic skills. Like me and my guys, every day, every shift, we'll hit something. And the nice thing is too, they're like bought in for it too. Like, all right, sweet. Like whether it's throwing some ladders for 30 minutes to an hour or so, or getting a couple of reps in stretching lines, like out in the bay, tangling up SCBA packs, blacking each other out, set the pass device off, go find it kind of stuff. Like I'd say we're really good on that. And like we got the other day when we were working, we got kicked out for a fire alarm at a residence, and in the notes it said like there's confirmed smoke in the structure, but nobody's home. We're like, all right, cool. Like this could be a structure fire. Let's go. So I told my backseater, I was like, as soon as we get there, we're hey, we're living this like it's for real. Get off, stretch a line, don't grab the can and irons, like do this for real. And other than like one small thing, it went flawlessly. I was like, that hard work is paying off, dude. This is awesome. It made me feel good. I know it made them feel good too, because they were like, oh, we get to do, we get to do what we're supposed to do.
Thing. Yeah.
Yeah, it was nice.
Do you think that the guys that you have worked with, like, so it takes something like that for them to be like, oh, maybe this training is paying off or something like that?
I think it definitely helps reinforce it.
Mm.
Because I mean, you can not run many calls and train for a few hours a day, and it's like, all right, cool, like I'm doing stuff, but when the rubber hits the road and you get to see the progress, not the progress, but like you see everything you've been practicing and training on actually gets put into fluid motion, then it feels good. Yeah, it kind of solidifies that point, like, all right, we are doing this for a reason. Which I mean, we know everybody in my department pretty much knows like we train for a reason, what we do, like they get it. But sometimes it's like, all right, we haven't run a fire in a month. What are we doing? Like,
Yeah.
oh, don't worry, when 3 a.m. hits and everything goes flawlessly, you'd be like, all right, it all paid off.
When I went for my probationary period on an engine, I then got moved to where I am now at engine 30, and we they were ahead of the department where this truck was altered so it could be a water rescue truck. It's like a
Mm-hmm.
special vehicle. They built it special, but they switched to a Minuteman load. So this truck
Nice.
for X amount of time, it was the only truck in the county that was allowed to have a Minuteman load. So
Oh, dude.
I literally got obsessed with like the Minuteman pool, like pulling a hose, pulling hose, pulling hose,
Yep.
and it was different because we did like a modified flat load. It's still weird, but I did those reps. I did that like it continuous like hose pulls. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
until I was could do it with my eyes closed, and then finally got to put it to use on a scene, and it went perfect.
Dude,
You
heck
know,
yeah.
on a fire scene, rarely the things that we practice go exactly according to plan. But
Yeah.
there was this one time, I mean, this house fire, everything went perfect. I mean, mask on, boom, everything, like all of the objectives were complete, and I was like, oh crap, like we get to fight the fire now. Let's do this. Like it was pretty awesome. But those reps, man, those reps, they got it. They got to go. They got to happen so you can have
Yeah,
the confidence when you get there.
dude, for sure. Reps, I mean, they matter, man. And even like doing the gear work, like doing gear workouts and stuff, I've been finding myself. So like not too long ago, like I posted for one of my workouts, like I was slacking, and it wasn't like I was like I haven't worked out in a little while. I wasn't hitting my potential. Like I know, like I was slacking as I'm not giving 100% to what I know I could do. So now I definitely feel better. Like I'm doing 2 a days, doing strength, and then some kind of conditioning, whether it's gear work, whatever it may be. But like finding, I get done with the gear workout and I'm hot and I'm like, all I want to do is take it off. I'm like, I want to cool off. I'm like, hold on, let me take those few minutes, just chill out. Like I want to say it was Jason Worthy talking about it. Like he stays in his gear to be, continue staying uncomfortable so you can get comfortable. That way, when it does hit the fan, you're ready to go.
Mm,
Like you're not like, oh my God, ripping your stuff off when you come out the house fire. You're like, all right, let me take my mask off so I can actually talk to people, but you're chilling.
mm.
It makes it a lot easier.
Yeah, that's rewiring your hardware, your your habits, your patterns,
Mm-hmm.
knowing that you could stay uncomfortable for an extended amount of time and you're good.
Yeah, and I've definitely found myself like heart's pumping, pulse is way up, like I feel terrible and this workout is just awful, but I'm like, keep going. You're not gonna stop. You can't stop in the middle of a house fire. So why are you gonna stop now? Just keep going. Keep pushing.
No, go
No,
ahead.
at the cellular level, those adaptations occur, and that
Mm-hmm.
adapts. And the adaptation, the more you do it, it shows. Like I forget where I read that, but yeah, especially like heat exposure and retaining
Mm-hmm.
heat and being comfortable when you're hot. So, I mean,
Yeah.
granted, there gets to a point where you're boiling from the inside out and you have to take your gear off or you have to seek, uh, um, get out of the environment you're in. But I mean, if you're training, you could withstand more than you think you could withstand.
Oh, absolutely. It's that mental. Your body will withstand more than your mind can take, or whatever. I can't remember how that goes, but
I would say that's the hardest 5 minutes of the workout is the after the workout when you sit there and just kind of we call it the marination. You just sit there and marinate
yeah,
in it a little bit because I'm literally counting down the seconds in my head and I can like literally feel my pulse. Like I can I feel like my body I can hear my heart pumping in my body. I'm like, okay, now let's just sit here and try to get our breath right. Like let's try to breathe and then slowly you kind of come down and that I think I'm addicted to that. Whatever that is, it's so terrible, but it's like you get close to the sun a little bit. Like the closer you
hmm
get to the sun, you're like, man, this is awful, but I'm also trying to get there again.
yeah. It's like yesterday I did it was 100 up downs. So I gave myself a 10-minute cap, 100 up downs, and then every 25 I had to do heavy dumbbell, 100-foot farmer's carry. And
Uh,
it's not, I mean, it's simple work. It really isn't that hard, but going through it, I was like, oh my, like this kind of sucks a little bit. And then I got done, and then after I finished my 100, it's continuous. You just do continuous up downs until time runs out. And I looked at my watch and I was like, okay, I got this amount of time left. Let's see. I think I can get this many. And I, looking back at it now and hearing myself, I'm like, don't do that. Just go, just
mm,
go.
Yeah.
Because don't try to math it out or figure, like, just do it, man.
yeah.
Yeah. You
Sometimes
try,
strategy will get you.
Yeah.
or you're just reasoning with yourself. You're trying to
Oh,
like you're
100%.
trying to like go back and forth with yourself and okay, if I could do this, I could keep this pace, and okay, I could just probably taper down
Yeah.
a little bit. Okay, I'm just gonna ease off, get off the throttle. Okay, now I'm gonna kick it into the throttle. Oh no, that's not going, that's not working.
Yeah,
Okay, I want to ease
yup.
off. I mean, we've all been there, brother. And that's what and that is what it's all about.
Mm.
Definitely.
My question to you is, when was that epiphany that occurred in your career, maybe prior to that? Okay, fitness, I have to make this a priority. My fitness, I'm gonna put it up. I'm gonna put it up there with, as an essential.
So, okay, so I've been in the fire service about 10 years. When I was in North Dakota, so I've always been in the gym too. Let me back up a little bit. Like before I was even interested in the fire service, like I was in the gym, I'd work out, lift weights, do things like that, go on a few runs. It wasn't anything crazy. It was just like I either want to like basically just look real good or, be able to lift, be strong. So then going through fire academy, they didn't really prioritize fitness. It was real basic, like some push-ups, some jumping jacks, go take a jog around the training tower a couple of times, nothing crazy. And then when I went up to North Dakota, I was like, all right, back up again. My first ever gear workout I did was at my volunteer department. Showed up and there were these two guys, Jeremy and Elliot, and we had this outbuilding beside the station that housed like a boat and some workout stuff. Well, they were out there doing like suitcase carries and I forget what else, some other things. And I was like, all right, well, this is my first taste of breathing air, doing this. And I was like, this sucks. I remember going, this sucks. But fast forward, go to North Dakota, I'm working out. And in North Dakota, I didn't want to be in my gear. So I probably had this epiphany when I got down to Georgia, so about 3 years ago. But in North Dakota, I was like, nah, bro, I'm not wearing my gear. I had this lieutenant I worked with. He was like, hey, when we get on the truck, because we're on a truck company, he's like, when we get on this truck, you guys are in your bunker pants. Because if we get kicked out for something in the middle of the city driving around, we need to be ready. We need to get off this truck ready to work. And I was now looking back at it, like, yeah, he was onto something. But
Yeah.
during that, I'm like, no, dude, I'm not, cancer and this and that. I'm not sweating. This is stupid. Little did I know, I'm like, this is ridiculous. But no, probably to answer the question, probably about 3 years ago, going through Pooler, like kind of opened my eyes because I remember going through doing the workouts in the lateral class there. Some of the guys were like very, very involved in fitness. They were CrossFit guys. Like they knew a lot and they did a lot. And I'm like, I didn't know that stuff. And they're like, do a burpee and I'm doing an up down, and they're like, "No, you idiot, that's not a burpee." I'm like, "I don't know what I'm doing. Like, I don't know this stuff. I don't know these movements." And I'd say that's probably when I started to learn, because we were in our gear every day doing something, and I noticed I started getting better. I was a little more comfortable. I'm like, all right, there's something to this. And then it just further solidified it, seeing other guys working out in gear and they're making a difference and they're being better on the fire ground or doing whatever task they're doing. I'm like, I want to be like that.
Mhm.
I want to be, I want to be the best. I want to be better than everybody. I got a long way to go, but I'm going in the right direction by working on it, by at least attempting it and doing it, you know?
I think a lot of us are on this endless pursuit because the best is always going to be changing. Like the goalpost is always going to be moved. Like as we get better, we're going to always want to get better. You know,
Mhm.
there's never going to be an end date. Maybe when we retire, maybe that last shift, but like better will always be there. Better will
Definitely.
be possible. Better is
Mhm.
always going to be on the table as you climb the mountain, man. The mountain is just never ending. I'm pretty sure that's how we'll feel because I'm
Oh,
never going to be
dude.
like, dude, I fucking made it. I did it. I'm on top of
Yeah.
the mountain. I don't think the mountain ever ends.
Nah, man, it's like
Nah.
it's climbing the ladder of success. It's like there isn't really an end, because you're never you may hit points or benchmarks where you are successful in a certain area or spot, but that doesn't mean you are now successful. Nope. You got to keep going. You got to keep climbing.
Yeah. Yeah, I find myself doing that. Oh man.
Yeah, my
So
wife knows me. She's like, whenever you have a goal, you will do anything to chase down that goal, but give you 2 weeks and then you're gonna have another goal that you're chasing. So she doesn't believe me, like, no, I'm good, I'm sure. She's like, I know you too well. You're gonna find some other huge elephant goal that's something that you want to chase down, and you'll be on
Dude,
that for
heck
the
yeah.
next 2 years.
I mean,
She
it's
knows me
fun
pretty well.
too. It gives you something to do. It gives you something to focus on.
yeah, what's
Take,
the alternative? What's
yeah,
the alternative? I mean,
yeah,
what else is there to do?
nothing. And then if you do nothing,
Yeah,
I mean,
you're nothing.
you're
Exactly.
nothing.
Josh, I want to say thank you, man, for that vulnerability. I know maybe it cost you something to say, man. I didn't want to be in gear or whatnot because I sucked or whatnot. I was uncomfortable. But welcome to this side.
Yeah, man. No,
I'm
I
always
love it.
uncomfortable. Yeah, man.
It's
And it's
it's
cool for
funny
you to
looking.
recognize it. It's so cool for you to be aware of it and recognize it and be like, okay, I want to be part of that group, or I want to be able to do what they do, or I want to be better than I was yesterday. So that takes a
Yeah,
lot,
man.
man. And you have to be aware of that.
And I got a long way to go, but and I'm like, I still struggle sometimes. Like I look at, like for instance, like smoke diver flames, like programs like that. I look at them and I'm like, I want to attempt them. I want to try to do that. But then I look at myself and I'm like, man, like I'm not ready for that. No, like I'm sure I could do it. No, 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 I can't. I'm like, I just need to
Okay.
start hammering down and focus on it, you
Yeah.
know?
We've all been there, bro. I do that. I do that with myself all the time. I doubt
We're all in the
myself more
same boat,
often than
brother.
not. More often than not, we have more in common than we don't. So, uh,
I don't know if I've
but to
ever
what
told
end?
it. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, to what end though? To when are you guys keep on saying that? To finally like pull the trigger and execute and either like dial in,
Mhm.
get ready, prepare, and the best you can, and just show up.
And
So
that's why it's nice to be around like-minded guys like you or other guys that I
yeah,
follow, that I like you just said, like we all struggle with the same thing, but guess
yeah,
what we're doing? We're still moving forward. We're still doing it. Even 10 minutes in the gym is better than just sitting there not doing a dang thing at all. I
100%,
mean,
man. Give yourself a
something.
timeline.
Yeah.
Put that bitch up on a piece of paper on your fridge.
Mhm.
I printed out the creed and I put it on my fridge. As a matter of fact, I have the creed still on my screensaver on my phone. I still
Yeah.
have that as a reminder. I ain't shit. There's still more work to do.
Heck yeah.
So
Speaking of which, Riley, did you go to quals?
Four.
G- were you interested in GSD?
Yeah.
Are you in?
I can't speak on it
Oh,
yet, brother,
all right.
but
That's fair. That's
yeah,
fair.
we're somewhere in purgatory. More to come.
Gotcha.
But
Cool.
I don't know if I've ever told this story on the podcast, but the first time I ever worked out in gear, I was actually in an EMT program. So in Arizona, you have to have your EMT before you can even apply to any department. So that's a prereq, and that's on you. Like they're not going to send you. You have to get it before you show up. But I was in this community college like EMT program that's supposed to bridge you to a fire program. And we get there, and basically for the first 6 hours of the day, you sit in the classroom, EMT, EMT, EMT. But then the last hour and a half of the day, they have like this huge Connex in the back, and it's full of gear, like full of firefighter gear. And they're like, well, if you guys want to be firefighters, this is the best way to figure out if you really think this shit is for you. So
Dude, heck
they put
yeah.
all of us in gear. I mean, we're talking squats, we're talking tire flips, sledgehammer, dummy drag. These are people that are here for an EMT experience, and they're hoping to be firefighters, but they're not sure yet. I saw a lot of people change their minds real quick in some of those workouts. I mean, 3 or 4 times a week, we'd go out there and work out, and instantly I was like, oh yeah, like this is it. Like I knew instantly that I liked it, and it was much more difficult than I anticipated. But we were doing like gear drills, we were doing like, all this cool firefighter stuff in this really cool EMT program. But yeah, it was an instant like, oh, okay, this is a new thing that I'm gonna have to learn about, or this is a new thing that's gonna kick my butt. Little did I know that 5 years later, it's still gonna be kicking my butt, but I've just enjoyed the ass kicking this time.
Yeah.
So it's a different ball game when you put that gear on, but it's a new challenge. It's a new challenge for sure.
Yeah, I remember seeing guys. They like the first day of academy when we went through the lateral class in Pooler, we had to run. Maybe it was a little short of a mile. Run to the courthouse, do a bunch of workouts. Push-ups, squats, sit-ups, all kinds of stuff. And then you run back down the street. You got the fire truck following you. You're running in formation, things like that. And then they get back, and guess what? You PT some more. And I remember seeing some guys, they were like, what did I get myself into? Like, oh my God. And sure enough, 2 or 3 days later, they were gone. Which, I mean, this isn't an easy job. There's nothing easy about this. You got to be hard for this job. You can't just quit. You can't fold under pressure. Like, it's inherently dangerous. It's just hard. There's nothing easy about this.
This job is not safe.
No.
And the more safety parameters and guidelines and restrictions and regulations and red tape you put around it, the more harm you do to the actual profession and the professional firefighter. So that's a misconception. I see it on social media, and I haven't spoken about it, but I feel compelled to speak about it right now, right here. The more safety you put and the more safety guidelines and regulations you put on firefighters, the more you do harm to them.
Yeah.
That's it.
It's so you guys listen to Danny V's podcast. Did you guys listen to the episode with Alex Aguilar?
This was a while back, or was it recent?
Yeah, a few weeks ago, a few episodes ago.
Not as of yet, no.
Okay, it's real good. I won't spoil all of it, but I'll take this little bit out of there. And he was talking about, so when that dude's a badass, and when he was a ranger, so he was talking about when he was in the military. I'm probably gonna butcher this now that I'm talking about it. Basically, it's you got these hard charges. You got these guys that want to do the work, want to be badass and get after it, and don't let your pit bulls stay on a leash. Let them off the leash. Let them go work. Because if you're leashing your best players, yeah, like you were saying, Eric, you're hurting the firemen. You're definitely hurting the civilians, because now who's going to come get them?
Exactly. Like I say, RIT operations should be special ops. RIT is special ops in my point of view. Not everyone can go into an inherently dangerous situation where there's a down firefighter and go save that down firefighter. You're telling me it was dangerous before he went down, now he's already in there, now he's fucked, now he's even in more danger. You want me to go in there? Yes. Far and few dudes would do that, or far and few males and females would ever go and put themselves in that situation. So
that's
RIT
a big deal.
Is special ops. Hence, we train RIT. So when that call drops, and when we're called upon, we could respond. We have some type of training under our belts. We could assimilate or be confident in our skills that we are able to do the job.
Yeah,
that's the foundation of RIT. That's why I train RIT. So we're in this profession to be the best we can.
Yeah, people don't understand. Like, a oh yeah, I can save my brother. Yeah, I'll go in there and save him. I can save my sister. Yeah, sure, you can say that, but at the same time, when that, and I hope it never ever has to happen.
Right.
However, if it does happen,
Yeah.
you're, yeah, not, you got to think about the mental aspect too. Like you're going to be very emotional. Like that's your brother, that's your sister who just went down, and it's like Rob Ramirez talked about in a podcast he did. It's like a knife fight in an elevator.
100%.
It's violent, it's brutal, it is extremely difficult, and you have to be prepared for it. Like because if you're not, your failure is going to creep up a lot faster than you think. I mean, what the average? It's like 32 minutes with 8 people or something to get a down firefighter out. I mean, that's
An
a
eternity.
long time.
A
Yeah,
lifetime.
a long time.
A
Yeah.
lifetime
long
when you're
time.
running low on air, when your vibro is going off, and you have minutes, seconds of life, oxygen in your tank. So shout out to Rob Ramirez out of the Mayday Mindset. Solid dude.
Yes.
Solid dude. I mean, I can't speak highly enough about him, man. So
I think
yeah.
a lot of places will, it's too late by the time that they want to make RIT a priority, you know? Like they're going to make this huge push when something bad happens and it's already too late. It's really frustrating. You see it all the time. Something bad will happen in an area and they're like, we need to train RIT more. We need to do this, this and that. And we need to do
Yeah.
this. And that works for about 6 months, maybe even I'd be I'd be generous saying 6 months and then they're back to like, oh yeah, we don't need to practice RIT. It's okay. We know the bag. We know this. We know how to do that.
Yep.
I,
It
I
falls right off,
yeah, I
dude. And
can't stand it. I can't.
I'm guilty of it. Like there's plenty of people I work with. We're all guilty of it. And I mean, that's kind of where that sparked too. Like hearing that podcast with Rob, I was like, he's exactly right. Like we are not prepared. I'm not prepared.
yeah.
So what am I going to do to prepare myself? Start working on it. And not don't tabletop a line of duty death. Like actually, not that that's not important. Like yeah, learn from that stuff, but hands-on reps, doing stuff, making it difficult. You know, one guy I work with, he got selected for Flames, and he's like, hey man, like asking for, he wants help training and preparing and stuff, and I'm like, he's like, put me in difficult situations. Okay, we'll put you in some difficult situations. All right,
Yeah.
perfect, man. We can make it happen. You know, you got to be, but you know, you got to be ready mentally though. Like that's the one thing that I can't do anything about. Like we can get you physically ready, mentally you have to work on yourself.
That's it. And that's with the war. Like the war is in between my ears for sure. Like with all difficult tasks, with all things, like we can train the body till we feel like we're Superman. We could feel show up, look good, feel good, everything
Mm-hmm.
be great. But if you lose it between the ears, man, that's really where the work for me has been lately. Is like trying to get in there and mostly just work on my self talk and mostly
Yeah.
work on just my confidence in things that I know I can do and just execute. And number one for me is stop thinking. Like I'm reading this book called Relentless by Tim Grover, and the first thing he talks about is stop thinking. So
Mm.
being able to put yourself so much training and so much time, like time under tension or time under whatever you want to stress, but getting
Right.
into those positions where you can not think at all, just operate and do what you need to do. It's harder than you think. Like it's a very cliche thing to say, "Hey, stop thinking," but it's difficult. It's difficult to stop this hamster that's on its wheel in my head. So it's been
Yeah.
focused lately.
So elegant. So well put. So poetic.
I don't know, man. That guy's smart, and I'm just reading his book, so I'm not that smart. Josh, what you got on the calendar? What's big's coming up for you, or any trainings or anything that's on the horizon?
Man,
Changing diapers,
let's
daddy duties.
exactly changing diapers. Actually, big thing on the horizon. We got to go out to Seattle in September for, so my sister-in-law is getting married, so a little family
Nice.
trip all the way to the West Coast. So flying with
Super
the baby,
important.
that's going to be
With the
real
baby.
interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah,
super
Yeah.
that's gonna
important.
be
Yeah.
But it'll be fun. I'm looking forward to it. It's definitely going to be a challenge, but hey man, bring it on. Training wise, I want to try to attempt to go to the upcoming EJ conference in October, but otherwise, that's really about it on my radar for now.
Tell us a little bit about that EJ conference.
So I got introduced to the EJ conference by my boy Chief Schulte. shout out to him. I think he's H-Rock starts this weekend, I think. So he's down in Florida for that. It's either this weekend or next weekend. But so EJ Mascaro was fireman, a veteran. He was an instructor, very into the fire service, into the job. I never got a chance to meet him. I've only heard about him through guys that have known him and then learning about him from the conference. But he ended up passing away. So this conference is in his memory, but there's instructors from all over the place, all over the country. Like one of the guys, he's a retired deputy chief, I believe, out of Pittsburgh. And like he taught some RIT stuff one year. It's awesome. You might know the name Chief Tennyson and Chief Savage from Somerville. Like they've taught some RIT stuff, packaging, and at one of the conferences, one of the years I went, actually the first year I went, they taught some of that. And those guys, man, they're beasts. Holy cow. They mountain of men right there. They're good dudes too, man. They care. I like them a lot. But yeah, it's awesome. You do everything from like a little bit of RIT, some truck stuff, searching, hose
Is it hot
deployment.
class?
Yeah. Yep, it's a hot class. So there's two EJ conferences now. So one in January, which is in Somerville, and that one's hosted by Charleston Metro Fools. And then this next one, the one in October, is OSTA, which is On Scene Training Associates. So I don't exactly, I don't know, I don't want to say the wrong thing or whatever, but basically there's two EJ conferences now. Both of them are going to be awesome. I have no doubt about that. But yeah, you do hands-on reps and stuff, and then you do hot. So there's live fire. This year was searching. They made it a focus on hoarder homes. So searching and doing VES in a hoarder home. And dude, that was, we threw our ladder, we went up there, and holy crap. I got in there and I was like, there's so much shit in here.
Yeah.
It was
Sounds
ridiculous.
So lifelike, though?
Sounds tight.
So
lifelike.
Dude.
It was awesome. Yeah. And then another one, they sent you through, you got a whole freaking, I don't know, like 16 by 16 square that you got to crawl through. And I go in, my buddy goes in behind me. And then our third partner, my buddy, Mike Gordon, he's huge burly dude. And he's like, oh, hell no. But he gets in there with us. And I mean, you can't stand up. Like you have to crawl, you have to stay low. And there was just so much crap in the way. And I'm like, hey, I'm like yelling back because I'm like feeling around like, hey, I've got this. I got to pass it back to you and get it out of my way. I'm crawling over bed frames and stuff. Like it was, dude, it's gnarly. It's a lot of fun. Definitely learn a bunch of tidbits of information that you get to take back, tools for the toolbox.
Yeah, I think I went to Passion for the Craft maybe 2 years ago now, and that was one of the rotations was like a hoarder house condition, like making a grab in there.
Nice.
And you basically go into, it wasn't a hot class, it was just smoked out. So get in there, and there's 4 or 5 bedrooms, you find the victim, but down the hallway is literally, there's a path that's this wide.
Dude.
They've got like filing cabinets on each side. So like, just getting this guy through, and he wasn't a small guy, getting that guy through that little passageway was, I mean, you walked out of there, you're like, holy crap, what was in there? No one even knows what we just went through, but.
Oh, dude, it's insane.
Yeah. I like that kind of training though.
It's fun, man. Like it, and it's unfortunately the reality we live in. There's hoarders everywhere. I took a hoarder class once, and Ryan Pennington was the instructor. He's out of Virginia, but he talked about the blue tarp, and the blue tarp is a dead giveaway for a hoarder home. If they've got a blue tarp covering stuff anywhere in their yard, there's probably going to be a lot of stuff inside. And 9 times out of 10, he's pretty spot on with that.
Are you big on outside training? Like, does your department do a good job of training, or do you do a lot of both?
We do all right. So, like, we've kind of had to introduce our chief to it a little bit because all he knew was the State Fire Academy, and that was really it. Because at first he's like, "Oh, Billy Bob's traveling fire class, huh? Ooh," and like kind of teasing and poking fun at it a little bit. And it's like, hold on, let me. We'll explain this to you. And that is something that's actually really nice about him is like, if he doesn't understand it, he'll chew on it for a little while and kind of try and break it down. And then he comes back to it like, okay, I got a better grasp on this. Like, cause for a little while, you know, he was like, we were trying to explain nozzles and hose packages to him. And he's like, you put a nozzle on a hose and you spray water. That's it. And we're like, me and a buddy of mine we're nozzle nerds. And we're like, oh, no. There's so much more to it. But okay, we got a little bit by little bit, but, no, we're getting better though. We're getting a lot better because he's been inquiring about, hey, what about this class? Or send us these classes that you guys want to go to, and we'll see what we can pay for and things like that. In house, we do a pretty darn good job of training. Everybody's getting so working 48s now. Everybody's getting hands on at least one day, which is really nice. And if it's not hands on the second day, they're doing some kind of, you know, whether it's like an officer style class or size ups, you know, something simple where you can just sit at the table and talk about it. But it's also shift dependent too. Like my shift, we're a bunch of hard chargers. We're always out there doing at least an hour or two a day. Even if we go out and we get our ass kicked, we'll go throw ladders for a little while. We'll do something to get hands on. But no, I kind of forgot. I just got on a tangent, but
Betty Bob's Traveling Fire Service Conference. Yeah, I'm gonna use that one. That
dude,
was good.
I looked at him and I was like, "You have no idea." But he even said one day, he's like, "You know, maybe I should go to one of these." I'm like, "Do it, do it," because he used to be. So he's an old school fireman. Like he's been in Savannah pretty much he was in Virginia first, but then came down to Savannah, and he was on the rescue in the truck. And in Savannah, rescues do like specialty and rescue work. Trucks do truck stuff, ventilation searches, things like that. They don't fight a lot of, not that they don't fight fire, excuse me. They don't pull hose and do things like that. That's the engine company's job. So it's very job specific. So he was on an engine for a very short period while he was in Savannah, then went to the rescue and truck. So some of it he doesn't know just because he's not used to it. He hasn't been exposed to it for a long time. But you do anything ropes, rescue related, water related, dive, that man, he's it. He is the guy to talk to. He's a fish. Like that dude in the water is crazy.
Here's a good question for you, Josh. What would be the advice you would give to a new guy knowing what you know now? Like, what is the best advice you could give to a new firefighter, or let's say even someone in recruit school right now?
Be an open-minded sponge. Specifically open-minded. You know, there's so much to learn. It sucks because you learn the book way, which some of the book way is just, it's garbage. You know, it doesn't teach you how to be a real good fireman. Being the best fireman you can be is going to outside trainings, getting on the job experience. That's, you know, my opinion, because you get to take the blinders off, learn some things outside the area so you can bring it back and apply it to your department. But an open-minded sponge, soak up everything, listen. And when you hear ideas that you necessarily don't agree with, don't be so sharp to just tune them out or throw them away. Like that, it might come back to get you in a year or two and you go, oh snap, oh, I should have listened to that. If I'd have done this differently and done it like Erik said, then I wouldn't be in this predicament. Oh, if I should have taken Reilly's advice when he said stretch the hose this way instead of that way. Shoot, you know. Because
for me, it's experience is something you can't hold against a guy, you know, a newer guy or a probie or something like that. I've learned quickly that it'll never be as good than back in the day when your captain and your engineer were young. It's never going to be like that. And you missed out and you'll never know what it was like and all that bullshit. But I'm okay with that. I just accept it. I'm like, yeah, I wasn't there. It's fine. And guess what? What are y'all doing right now? Like,
yeah, exactly. Like, okay, the one thing that I did miss out on that I'm never going to be able to experience is like have you ever heard the war years in New York City? They were going, you know, multiple fires every single day. There's a book called I think it's called A Report from Engine Company 81. Super good book. It's the life of an FDNY fireman. It's fiction, but great freaking stories from some pretty significant fires and stuff. But it's like, okay, I'm not going to get to experience that. Sure, I don't go to a structure fire every day, every week, hell, every month. That's okay. I'm making I'm laying a base right now for me by doing the best that I can. Like guess what? It might not be how you guys did it or the best that you guys did it, but it's the best that we can do right now, and that's all we can do. Like just putting in the effort.
Well, the times have changed. Evolution.
Yeah.
The only constant is change. I forget where I read that. And if you're not changing, nothing's changing. Right? So I get
Firemen
it.
hate two things:
I get
changing the way things are.
changing the way things are. The first time I heard that, I bawled out laughing. It was so fun to me because it made so much sense. But I use the analogy about my grandparents. Well, when you were growing up, there was no internet. There was no debit cards. There was no like shut up like type of thing. Like, when you were growing up, okay, give me your cell phone. Give me all the commodities of today's technology. You didn't have technology growing up, so just the times are different. You know, different eras. It's cool.
Also, I think the fire service is evolving. We're getting better. We're getting more, more technology, more data to work with. So it's never going to be like, there was more fire trucks here than actual firemen. Everyone drove a volunteer truck in here. And I'm
and
like,
that's
oh,
something
God.
that's really good about today's fire service. So I'll dive into this. So with the power of like cell phones, social media, all this data that we can access on the internet. So one, social media brings us together. And honestly, if it wasn't for social media, we might not even be having this conversation right now, which it's a very positive thing that's happened. Okay, and so you've got that. So now you also have all that data. All that data is accessible. So the Mayday mindset, the what is it? The grabs, Brian Brush's rescue survey. I can't think now.
I know what you're talking
Forgetting
about.
what it's called, but okay, you know what I'm talking about. So with having all that accessible, we can learn so much now. Like it's not like, for instance, Andy Fredericks, when he was in FDNY doing all of these like testing and all these things for hose and nozzles and stuff, he did so much work that people didn't necessarily get to see or read until the 21st century, and because they didn't have access to it, or it wasn't as accessible, rather, not necessarily not having access. But now, I mean, the book of Andy's out there. I can print it off. I can go buy it from the bookstore on fireengineering.com. Like,
So
I
you're
can
saying
learn about these things.
if Andy had an Instagram, it would have been crazy.
Bro, it would have been nuts, man. But the thing is, too, it also seems like there's this trend in the fire service. So maybe a few years, for lack of a better measurement, we'll say the fire service was getting real safe. Every safety this, safety that, bureaucratic red tape, all this politics and bullshit. Well, that's obviously an infection in the fire service. However, with all this access to this data that we have now, seeing that, in the past 20 years, only 13 firemen have died from this incident. Well, let's look into it. Oh, actually, it wasn't even because of what they were doing. It's because of outside factors that they had no control over. The fire service is now in this trend of going back to like the down and dirty work, going, yeah, the best way to be safe is just to be competent at your job. If you're efficient, competent, dude, you're going to be fine. You're going to be able to get after it, know what you're doing. You trust your guys because they're smart and they're good firemen, not a whole bunch of, hold on a second. Wait a minute. Let me pull out my book real quick and read this. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Take the book, throw it in the fire. It's not going to do you any good.
There's this YouTube clip of this guy, and he's getting interviewed for the news, and he said, "Our first priority is them. Like, we're there for them. My second priority is."
I believe that was the Parker County guy in Texas.
Yeah, he was like,
County
"Well,
ESD.
second priority is me being good at my job. Is safety. Like, that's the biggest safety policy we can have, is being really good at my job." And that just blew my mind. That's it.
Bingo.
That's it.
That's it, man. Like, yeah. I've worked with guys that are, nope, you can't do that's not safe. You can't do that. And I've like I remember one day I called him on it. I was driving him around. He's a captain, and somebody was complaining about something, and he actually popped off and was like, "No, you're gonna do this." And it was a little out of character for him, because I was like, that's not safe according to you, because I've heard you say that before. And I was like, "Man, you're like the safety guy. Like, I can't believe you said that." well, no, listen, man, I care about safety, but some BS or whatever roundabout stuff. And I'm like, all right, yeah, I know you. Stop it. Because if we show up on a fire like right now together, I'm not gonna leave you. I'm not gonna be a dick. But like, I run on scenes. I have my stuff. I practice a lot of stuff that's unorthodox. I remember a fire in North Dakota. I wasn't even running. I was like walking pretty dang fast. And this guy, stop running on the fire ground. That's dangerous. Well, you know what, motherfucker? If that was your family in there, you'd be running, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Don't tell. I just think, dude, I ignore stuff like that. I don't care. Don't, not to sound like I'm, being disrespectful or anything, but dude, I'm going to make sure I'm fast, I'm efficient, and I know what I'm doing. That's why I train the way I train. That's why I do what I do.
I think it was maybe my second fire ever. We were second, so we're water source. So take the hydrant. They pull off. Engine goes a little bit closer to the scene. I think it's maybe about 150 yards, 200 yards, a pretty significant distance from where the hydrant is to where the scene is. I take the hydrant, lock everything up, boom, and I'm like, well, anybody here to pick me up? So I just start running. I run from the hydrant all the way to the scene. Literally, everyone's just watching me go. I literally walk up, put my mask right on, everything, boom. Within like a minute of me running from there, I was inside the building, and everyone was like, "Dude, what the hell is wrong with you? Like, first of all, why were you running? And then second of all, how the hell did you get in the building so fast?" Like, after the fire that we were doing the hot wash, and the chief was like, "Yeah, who the hell was that with that running from the hydrant to the scene?" And I was like, just put my hand up. He was like, "Good job." And I was like, "Oh,
good.
Okay, that's crazy." But I didn't even think about it. I was like, okay, took the plug, get to the scene. There's no way to get there, so let's just start running.
It's like you said, man. Like, you don't think, just do, and you just did. It comes, dude. It comes natural, man. After a while, it just comes natural. You've got A, B, C, and D objectives, and you're just checking them off. Done. Now what? Put me in, coach. Let me know. Give me something.
Yeah, man. I just think, like I said, the training that we do, it's nothing that's gonna be super sexy, man. It's not cool. It's not gonna like get a million views on Instagram, but taking a hose pack, do a little minute man fold, practice making a pull, go to the door, mask up, do a search. It's all those really basic skills that add up. You don't ever hear about something happening with super advanced technique that they were doing that got them. It's like, yo, there was a basic task and it wasn't accomplished, and that's what led to the bigger problem. It's like, it's all the basics, and it never really changes. And that's really why I love the fire service, is that like, if you can be really good at the basics, everything else will take care of itself.
Yeah, you master the basics and you build from there. I mean, I want to say it was Aaron Fields said it. It's like, there's no such thing as advanced techniques. It's like, and oh shit. Well, there you go. I can't remember the dang quote, but building off the basics.
We call that pulling an Erik Vidal. I think I know how I say this, but I'm not gonna say it right. But just say it anyways.
Man, I've got like a million things that just run through my head on a daily basis. There's so much stuff.
One day we're gonna put together of all of our podcasts of like, man, like there's a quote, and I don't know if I'm saying it right. We probably have a solid 10 minutes of that.
20.
That's awesome.
But we know what you're talking about.
Yeah, that's all right. Perfect. As long as you guys are on the same page.
Oh, it's very on brand for the podcast.
Oh man.
We usually like to end these with like a mantra that you go to. Let's say in training. Let's say when you're dealing with a difficult task or something that's difficult. So what's your internal monologue while we're working or while we're doing something hard?
It's not necessarily negative self-talk, but it's a bunch of like, I can hear instructors, past instructors, hurry up, hurry the fuck up. Hey, let's go, let's move. And I'm like, in my head, like, all right, I can't let Erik Grotz down. I can't let Chief such and such down. Like, I got to keep going. Like, what would they say if they were here? And it's like, knowing those guys out there are, they're pushing you because they want they see something in you or they want the best out of you, I can still hear their voice clear as day. So it's hearing those voices from past instructors just to help with the push, basically.
Yeah, I mean, when you have good mentors, they stay with you. They're like your guiding forces when you're making
Yeah.
decisions.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
like that.
Have you guys ever, like, you're running, right? Let's say you're doing your 1.5 mile or 2 mile run trial, and if I don't make it under this time, my family's gonna die,
Yep.
right?
I actually just sent a meme to my buddy down in Jacksonville, and it's like this fireman deadlifting, and it's like, if I don't deadlift this weight, I'm a stupid paramedic, I'm a terrible fireman, and I'm gonna quit or something.
Yeah.
It's
Yes.
like, yeah.
That thought has ran through my mind more times than I can count, and that's one of my things when I'm in adversity or I'm facing a tough task. Like, if I don't do this, my whole family will perish. Talk about extremes.
That is all the way. That's a 10 out of 10 mantra right there. That's the
You know.
most extreme mantra.
Not to take away from Josh Banks by no means, because I do have those internal voices where I can't let so and so down, because I've had those moments where I can relate, bro. I mean, when you said that, I was resonating with what you were saying, because I've had those voices in my head as well.
Yeah, because if it's not that, I'm pleading with myself, dude, just another couple of minutes and you'll be at this. You'll be almost done.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
Time game. I love the time game.
You're almost done, bro. Just keep on going.
Yeah, don't quit. Just do it.
Yeah. 100%, man.
But I
Another
think
engine company is going to be better than you if you quit. No, they're not.
Yeah, they're all going H2O, Gatorade.
I thank God that my voice is like that. My internal voice is very harsh, because, like, think about the alternative. What if your inner monologue was like, "You did enough. You're good,
Oh, dude.
You got this. You don't need to practice. You don't need to work out." Because that's real. That voice is real in some people.
That's one of the softest shit I've ever heard.
Yeah, but it's out there, man. Some
Yeah.
people can coerce that voice in their head to tell them exactly what they want, and they can twist it, and they can,
Oh, it's okay. Oh, I did 5 flights of stairs. Let me take my gloves off. It's okay.
Yeah. I'll be able to do it when it matters. That's my favorite. I'll be able to do it,
bro,
when it counts.
I cannot stand the guys that are the recliner riders that are like, I'm saving myself for the big one. I don't need to work out. Shut the fuck. You're not gonna last 10 minutes, dude. Get out of here.
Yeah. There's a moment where you walk out of that building and you look who in your crew, and they're like, are these guys, are they really about it? That's the moment. That's the moment. I love that.
Yep. That's why I love working circles around like our automatic aid guys. Great guys. But there's some crews that we'll work circles around. And I mean, you're either doing well or you're not doing well.
Yeah.
Is what it is.
That has a lot with your chemistry with your team too. Like, the guys that I ride with now, we pretty much know everyone's next move and what their expectations in the playbook. We know exactly how we operate, and that really helps, man. You get a disheveled crew with people not knowing what they're supposed to do in their jobs, and then you just fly by them, and you're like, "What the fuck are y'all doing this whole time?"
Oh, dude, yeah, it's tough. That's why I'm real grateful for my crew, especially lately, dude. Like, we've been cooking meals and really like eating together. We've been working out together, training together. Like, we do a lot together, and we know at 7:30 on the second day, our driver is going to be in the engine with it started, ready to go get fuel. Like, we're on. We got it, no problem. And if he's disappeared at 6 o'clock, he's out washing the engine.
Yeah. Well, recently was my engineer's birthday the other day, and I bought him a couple things. He loves Pepsi, so I bought him some Pepsis, which is, I'll allow that. But I also bought him like a pill box, like for all of his pills, because he's just getting older. I thought he might need it. And I also bought him a pair of readers, like reading glasses.
Oh, dude.
And they're not even for him. Like, he was like, "Dude, what the fuck is this?" Like, he was like, I'm only 3 years older than you. I'm like, "But buddy, dude, you're going to need those pills. Start taking those, Mondays for Monday.
Was that a parody gift?
Thursday."
Is that
Yeah,
a gag gift or whatnot?
The best gifts. And he was like, "Dude, I tried these readers on. They don't even work. They're not even for my prescription." I was like, "Even better, dude. That means you need them more."
You're welcome.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just looking out for you. I mean, it's just stuff like that, man. My nephew said it the best we brought him to the firehouse. He's 4 or 5.
Yeah.
And he walked in. He's like, oh, this is where your fire family lives. And I looked at him. I mean, I was like, this is my fire family. You're right. Like, I mean, a kid could see that. A kid could recognize that dynamic. He's like, this is your fire family. And that's how I treat my crew. Like, they're my fire family.
That's all. That's how it should be, man. It's awesome. The bond becomes even stronger. Like it's awesome.
Yeah, man. Well, Josh, thank you for taking the time out of your day. We understand the assignment you've been given lately as of being a dad, so we understand the value of time. So thank you, brother. We appreciate you, and just keep killing it, man. You're a beacon of light. You inspire me. You inspire people. So keep going. Like there's more work ahead. Definitely. Yeah. Thank you guys. Thanks for the opportunity to be on here. This is awesome. This is fun, man. Yeah. It was a good time, man. Cool. Yes, sir. Talking. We appreciate you, brother, man. Yeah, man. All right. Sir. See you soon. All right. We'll see you, bro.
So, to all the viewers and listeners out there, the Uncivil Mentality Podcast, thank you for joining us. On behalf of myself, Erik Vidal. And I'm Reilly Kilbride. Get after it. Get in your gear. Start training. It can never be enough.